Hey all, this is 01 Suboku and...
Jerk the jackass.
Yes, and you're right there, Jack. Can you move over at all? You good?
I'm good.
Alright, I was just wondering, yeah, you're a little on the edge, but as long as you're good, that's fine.
A little on the edge. I thought it was always on the edge.
Well, if you move over just a little. But anyway, we are coming at you with a review, and again, sorry it's been a while, busy lives and all that, but we are coming at you with the review again of, I finally have it this time, boom, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. We are on the fourth disc, episode 21, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Advance of the Fool. Or Advance of the Fool, I added ED, Advance of the Fool, sorry about that.
Don't worry, he's just speaking in what's that thing they call it?
Strange tongues.
No, the Japanese English, I forget what it's called.
I don't know. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, Jared.
Yeah, the broken English or whatever. I
you mean? Well, let's be a little racist about this if we're going there. Broken English.
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood, broken English. Sayonara sayama.
Oh my god, where did the Samurai Showdown character come from?
I don't know, but sorry about that. I don't think I'm pissing anyone off with that, but part of me doesn't even care. But either way, episode 21, Advance of the Fool, basically takes off right where the other episode leaves off. We have, I blanked on the name. I know Gene Havoc, but, Colonel Mustang. Gene Havoc and Colonel Roy Mustang are recovering in the hospital with Riza Hawkeye there. You have Colonel Mustang scolding Riza Hawkeye for wanting to give up, which I know she did, but in the main way, you can't blame her because she thought Mustang was dead. So, but yeah, I mean, I can understand. You don't go on living. You go on living. You don't give up. That's pretty much also another whole theme of the show. And there's a scolding, and you also have him upset because Gene Havoc is in the room with him, and he's like, "Why ain't my own room with a lucky girl, a nurse babe, and all this."
He still wants them tiny miniskirts.
And basically, he wonders why, they haven't, why the homunculi or anyone involved with this thing hasn't been killed yet. And then, they're just wondering about it. And Riza Hawkeye says, well, that's why you and Havoc are together, to keep that from happening. So, we keep an eye on that. And, pretty much everyone is there. Have no idea where Fullman is at. Fullman is, again, like we joked about in the last episode, disappeared off the face of the world, and don't know where Vato Fallman is, but
I'm starting to think his name isn't Vato Fallman. Maybe it's actually Sam Fisher.
I think that's giving Vato Fallman a little too much credit, and basically Mike McFarlane, because Mike McFarlane wishes he was Michael Ironside.
We all wish we were Michael Ironside.
That is also very true. Who wouldn't want to be that awesome, man? But anyhow, regardless of that, everybody's there. Hammond's Breda, Kane Fury, Lieutenant Hawkeye, and, Havoc and Mustang as well, who are recovering. They're all there, and, they're just all talking about the next step. Sadly, you get a drop about where Havoc is saying he can't join them because he can't feel his legs.
Yeah, and there's also a really cool reveal, like how they figured out where the base of the homunculi is. Because if you remember in previous episodes, they started the fight, I believe, in like a military lockup. Then it kind of got into like a hospital, and then it just started a little short of like the main branch office. Well, Hawkeye, of course, being the absolute unit she is, memorized how many steps each part of the battle took from where to where until they got to the door. Then they got a map and they triangulated the position and they figured out, yeah, the base of the homunculi is basically right underneath Central, right underneath the presidential palace.
And also, I guess you have to give credit to Kane Fury for finding that info and putting it together, because I noticed how you know, like, people don't give King Fury enough credit. He really is a great information gatherer and also radio operative, but he is a tech sergeant, so I guess that would make sense how he can gather information and have access to various equipment and maps. Probably part of his forte.
And
So credit goes to him too.
I also have to hand him credit. I mean, even though he's a big chubby guy, you can tell he's a smart dude, and it's pretty clear that what's his name, Roy Mustang, is really playing on that kind of like unassuming, chubby, nice guy persona.
Are you talking about Hammond's Breda?
Oh wait, that's Hamus Breda?
Yeah, King Fury's the guy with the glasses. He's the radio operative.
Oh well, still, I mean, he's kind of got that. So, guys, don't take this the wrong way. This nice, quiet, squeaky guy kind of look to him. You really wouldn't suspect this guy of being like a super intelligent, say, serial murderer or anything. He's kind of got that like, oh hey, could you go get me some coffee while you're down there? And the funny thing is, I think Mustang kind of knows. He kind of plays into this sometimes. But it's also kind of funny that, I mean, Mustang really. This episode in particular, along with the last couple ones, really shows this guy's really he not only is a smart guy, he knows how to use his pieces. And I even love how who's the other guy who's in the bed with him?
Gene Havoc.
Gene Havoc even kind of refers to him by himself by saying, "You don't need a pawn that can move, do you?" It's kind of nice to still see them like bringing up the chess reference.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll get to that because that plays in a little later because what happens is as soon as Gene Havoc says he can't move, you have Roy Mustang starting to go through anything that they can to see what they could do to make Gene Havoc better. Hammond's Breda says, couldn't you get automail? And Gene Havoc's like, no, my entire, nerves in my back were severed. Automail can't help nerves. So I'm screwed that. Hammond's Breda is upset with the defeatist attitude, so he just says, retirement doesn't suit you, and then walks out. And then you even have Dr. Knox come up, basically just scold Mustang for what he's done so far. You learn in this episode that Dr. Knox was a part of the whole Maria Ross fake burned body and him, fudging the reports and doing what he did. But then you also learn that Knox was a part of the Ishmaelan War as well, and he's making up for probably mistakes of his own made in that war, just like how Mustang is. So, like I know Mustang says you're an ally, but Knox goes, don't kid me. You need a partner in crime. That's what I am to you. The guy who helps you out at every turn.
Well, actually, he kind of implied in I think it was 2 episodes ago that he was part of the Ishvalan Wars. Like, I guess this is what you're good at, isn't it? Just like back in Ishval, burning young ladies to the ground. So he kind of implied there that he was part of the Ishvalan thing, but here I believe the line is something similar to. You sure love playing with fire, and all of Ishval was the testing ground, huh?
Yeah, he said something to that level, so definitely there's that little thing from Knox too. And then Knox notices how Mustang is looking at books on the spine and all that different stuff, and he's trying to help out Havoc, and you just see the Mustang look completely defeated and deflated, like he's out of it. And then there's a point where, they go back to the room because, we get this idea that days has passed and, both Mustang and Havoc have been in this hospital room for days. Oh, I forgot to, before he heads back and before he accepts Gene Havoc's retirement, Breda got a note from, Edward Elric talking about Dr. Tim Marco and where he would live. And then, he realized that Marco was also the developer of the Philosopher's Stone, which piques his interest. And, it's said in 2 different ways. And in English, Hammond's Breda just goes, permission to go find Marco. And, he's just like, granted. But in Japanese, he goes, permission to extend my leave of vacation, sir. And he's like, approved. And then he goes, so. That's sort of cool how they're playing off, not to say the loud parts out loud in Japanese, and English it was more of a straightforward. But sadly, some time we believe passes again, and Breda gets there, and we finally learn that, as we suspected, Tim Marco was kidnapped by the homunculi.
We also noticed he's apparently using a Luger.
Oh yeah, he had a Luger in this one too. At least it looked like a Luger. Probably not a straight up Luger, but Hiromu Arikawa definitely based a lot of this on World War II. So a lot of the weaponry is World War II, World War One-ish. So makes a little crazy sense.
Well, I mean, hey, Riza Hawkeye is usually using a 1911 Colt military operator, so
Yeah.
why not?
And then let's be honest, her sniper rifle of choice, which she has, it looks like a Springfield 03, so makes sense.
Well, my favorite thing about Miss Hawkeye is, unlike most anime girls who gotta have the biggest, baddest fuck-off cannon ever, hello, Akame ga Kill, I love that she keeps her firearms of choice, nice, practical, and small, and there's a bit of a reason for that, bitches. I mean, you know why she has, like, what appears to be two, miniature Walter P90s as her additional sidearms of choice. Probably the same reason why all people who do shootings in South Central LA choose small firearms. They're extremely easy to get. They're very customizable, modifiable, easy to clean. They're some of the most legal guns you can get your hands on anywhere. Responsible for anywhere between 40 to 60 to over 60% of most of the gun crime in North America. Oh, and did I also happen to mention they are a lot more reliable than most guns? Not as many moving parts, not as many complicated pieces you have to look after. Yeah, most of the gun crime in this country, pistols and shotguns. AR-15 has the lowest murder count of any gun in North America. And Risa, being the badass sniper she is, any gun is deadly in her hands. Doesn't matter what it is, it's actually what I like about her. She's arguably the least powerful or exceptional member, quote unquote, of his team, but she's also arguably one of the smartest, sharpest, most perceptive. And you give that girl a gun, it doesn't matter what model it is, she's gonna clean house.
Yeah, and I can agree with that one. And to the same point is like when we get back to it, you have Heyman's braid on the phone with Roy Mustang saying that Tim Merker's gone missing. You have Roy Mustang defeated at Wit's End, and all of a sudden he's walking back to his room. He realizes that there's a person, or two people. There's a military officer and an old woman coming out of the room. Roy Mustang confronts Gene Havoc about it. Gene Havoc's like, "Oh, that's an officer of the Veterans Office, and that was my mother. I'm telling you, Colonel, I'm going in on retirement, and that's where the line is. You have no use for a pawn that can't move." And that's where they sort of get into it, and Roy Mustang's like, "Look, I'm gonna do things for you. Don't be defeated. Your nerves aren't completely severed or dead yet. They can be fixed." And,
well, I kind of love how the fight starts, because he's trying to basically tell Roy Mustang, you need to stop focusing on me. You need to focus all of your attention on doing what you need to expose what's going on for Colonel Hughes. I mean, this is literally how much of a guy and just how much of a bro Hughes was. He's basically telling Hughes, you need to stop focusing on me. This is about Hughes and everybody else.
Mustang, because Hughes is the...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries.
But yeah, he's trying his best to just say it as nicely as he can, as hurt as he is. And I love how he says, "Fine, I'll leave you. I'll leave you here to wait for me. To wait so you can catch up for me when I'm at the top." Which he's basically saying, you're gonna stay here, you're gonna rest, and when I make it to where I'm going, you're coming with me. And it's really sweet because Riza comes in and she tells him, it's like, you realize he's not gonna give up on you. I was ready to give up on life, and he still didn't give up on me. And you see him tearing up. He's literally like covering his eyes like this so that she won't see just how touched he is, that Colonel Mustang still wants and needs him by his side.
Yeah, and Gene Havoc basically says, he's a fool. The people at Central are gonna chew him up and spit him out. The brass will do that. And he's like, well, and she's like, that's what the world needs right now, is not only a man who's tough, but a fool who's compassionate and cares. And then, you see Roy Mustang still in pain, still dealing with his injuries, but he calls for Risa Hawkeye to get his uniform, and she's like, but sir, you're still in the hospital recovering, and he's like, none of that matters now, just get it, and she, admires his fortitude and does what he says.
And it's kind of nice how throughout the show you will notice Risa keeps a very straight poker face all the time, except when it comes to Roy Mustang. That is the
true.
only time you see her lower her guard, and it really is subtle touches like that, like how Havoc, he's kind of got like this back and forth with Roy, like they're two brothers just always sparring with each other, but there's love and compassion, you can tell. And when it's Hughes, you can tell everybody just loves the dude. When it's Armstrong, you love the dude, but you want to avoid that bear hug for all it's worth.
Well, because he'll crush you for it, yeah, but...
But it's kind of nice how it shows that this is what military life is like. You got your big teddy bear. You got the guy who you're always going to just spitball with. There's just so many different working pieces, and I love how she really pays attention to that.
Yeah. And well, again, remember being in a soldier or an army, there is that idea of brotherhood, and that comes across in this show, and in both versions. Particularly too, they do a good job of showing that. And to that same point, while this is also going on, and you have Edward Elric trying to help out Roy Mustang and anyone else too, you have Edward and Alphonse Elric come up with this unique plan about how, what do they do? Because they're learning about the homunculi. Edward checks out the laboratory, and where Roy Mustang, Jean Havoc, and Risa Hawkeye were. Edward finds out that there was no basement, but it was hastily covered up by I
think it was an episode or two back. We find out Scar was the one who probably killed Winry's parents, and while they hasn't completely confirmed it yet, the description was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Big, tall, fish-falling guy, dark skin, X across the face. Giant tattoo on his arm. Kind of sounds like someone.
Yep. And also, Alphonse brings up the part where, are they going to let Winry know? And Edward's like, no, we can't let her know now because it'll be too much for her to bear. And, we're not going to do that to her. And then, funnily enough, you have Lan Fan and Ling Yao come in through the window, which Alphonse goes, we need to lock the windows, where in Japanese he goes to the window again, but just Maxie might have given that drop of, we need to really lock the windows. That was hilarious, because they just show up right outside the window saying, oh, homunculi, that could connect me to something. Yes, the Lord's immortality. We really need to lock the windows.
Now, why would you lock the window to keep best boy Todd Havercorn out? Who would do that?
Yeah. And then, they come up with, and then the group gets added a little bigger because Edward knows there's an ulterior motive to Lin Yao more than probably just helping his people and trying to save his culture and everything from dying, and also his father so he can also become the next king in line or whatnot. But because he probably knows there's more to it, but he's like, basically mentions how, I want to help you guys out because, you've helped me out a lot. Plus, you made me eat your food. And then Edward's like, wait, what food? And then he's just like, Bill. And it's like, you ate that much? They go flying out the window like cartoon characters. It's like,
with how often Mr. Havercorn is going in and out of that window as Ling Yao, he could be Peter Pan.
Well, remember, he also went out the door the same way, so I'm just like, But anyway, they make the thing, and then Winry comes in all cartoonish, like, how early it is? It's in the morning. And then Edward convinces her to stay because he's like, well, don't go back to Resin Bull just yet. I may need you because I'm possibly going to get into a fight, break my arm. And then she bashes him with his wrench, which is all bloody, and then his soul's leaving his body without Alphonse is like, I've got your soul, brother. Putting it back into his body.
Who knew she played Bioshock, right?
Yep. But then, she does a nice thing where she's like, well, okay, guys, just stay good and protect yourselves. Don't do anything crazy that'll hurt yourselves. And then we cut to the next day. And a hilarious scene where Alphonse is going all around town and in a cartoonish scene, fixing up people with alchemy, and he's just like, doing things left and right. And you have Alphonse in the back just waving Japanese fans and being like, oh.
It it kind of reminds me of like that dream sequence with Mei Yao dreaming of like what Edward would look like. It-
Or Xiao Mei, I think.
Xiao Mei,
Xiao Mei's
yeah.
her name. Because we haven't seen her since, but she's probably going to be showing up soon.
It's just I saw that and I'm like, all he needs now are the sparkling lights and the red roses.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, as they're fixing stuff up, he's like, I'm your super alchemist friend, Edward Elric.
I can fix anything. State alchemist at large, Edward Elric.
Yep, and then, you have Ray Mustang saying that was rather theatrical, Full Metal, and, like, they start to talk before getting into a car, and, Alphonse squishing Ray Mustang almost to a pulp, but then they get out of the car where they're letting Ray Mustang know of his plan, which Ray Mustang is, calling them crazy for doing it, how they almost died, Edward in classic fashion is saying, ooh, I didn't know the Colonel was scared, and while this is going on, Scar literally starts coming up to them and starts attacking. Edward and Alphonse take defensive positions and fight back, while Alphonse also mentions to Roy Mustang, distract the military police for us so they don't kill Scar, because they're not trying to have Scar get shot. They want to drag out this fight as long as they can to have the homunculi come. And you have Henry Douglas of the Provost office trying to coordinate everything, but he can't because you have Ray Mustang talking like this and basically saying, all these different things in the sectors, where he's having too much fun like a child, and Reza Hawkeye's looking over at him like, really, sir? Really?
Oh, yeah.
How immature are you?
Because I love how eventually they do get the homunculi's attention by getting Fuhrer Bradley's attention. Because, by basically misdirecting the military, well, of course, the Führer's going to hear about it since he's probably got a working radio in his car, and you just see him step out of the car like the fucking unit he is. He's like, what's his name?
Gluttony?
Yeah, Gluttony. It's like, ooh, do I get to eat something now?
Yeah, and then that leads to while they're fighting Scar, Edward basically redirects some of Scar's alchemy back at himself. That cancels out the destruction anime, which people call Edward and Mary Sue because they don't know how Edward knows that. There was a whole article a few weeks ago where people were saying, Fullmetal Alchemist is full of Mary Sue characters, and I'm like, I know they don't go into it, and maybe that is the author's fault, which is, again, why I like the original better, because they do go into that stuff a little more, but at the same time, it's not as bad as some other shows, but I won't get into that now. We can get into that other discussions.
Him and his brother were already alchemy prodigies. They were the children of arguably the greatest alchemy prodigy of all time.
Yeah.
And they both crossed the border of truth, so you have to know these kids would know shit nobody else would.
That is also very true. That is probably something nobody thinks about. But either way, they find out, Scar has the tattoo on his arm, and, Edward goes, so it was you. But after that point, you have Gluttony saying, I smell the Ishvan, and I'm going to eat him, I'm going to eat him. And Logfine just kicks him in the face, sending him into a wall, going, they're basically saying, oh, you're a rather unique, or no, then Yao goes, oh, you're a rather unique individual, are you? How many people do you have inside of you? And then he's like, enemies? Do I get to eat you both? And then, shows off his Ouroboros tattoo on his tongue, and they realize they have a homunculi, but while they're doing that, you have, Jarek said, you have, when he opens his eyes, you can tell that's when he's serious, and he goes, like fine! And that's the end of the episode.
And you know what I find interesting about Bradley, and again, this kind of goes back to the Risa Hawkeye thing?
What?
I noticed, even though, he's got, the 6 swords, they're all military-grade officers' cutlasses. I mean, if this was like any other anime, he'd have, 6 big-ass Yandaos or Flambergs or
katanas or anything of that nature.
But instead, he's a military man, so of course it's going to be an officer's cutlass. And, 6 of them. And I love that, again, all of their weapons are very practical for their situations.
Yep.
Risa keeps a series of small pistols and sidearms, which are perfect for both infiltration, but also, for just a good old-fashioned gunfight. That one officer's got like that Luger, because, I'm probably imagining he's not much of a gun expert like Risa is. Fucking Roy doesn't fucking need a gun. He is the gun. He is the flaming gun. And then you got what's his name, Hughes, who, yeah, you might think it's a little weird to use the daggers like he does, but if you're not too confident with your marksmanship, they're also good close quarters weapons.
Yep.
In a very real sense, I'm actually kind of impressed with how much attention to detail she did with like who picks what weapons, how they fight. It's pretty impressive, really.
Indeed. And we also now go into the characters, and I have to say, this was an episode again where a lot of the characters, did great work. A lot of them, were all good. Nobody seemed like short-sighted or out of hand or like worthless to it. Everybody like fit the bill. There were some things that were just there. Like obviously, Maria Ross's little line there where she popped up as a thought bubble in Alex Louis Armstrong's head was sort of like, a little of just fun, not too serious. But yeah, that's pretty much the only one. Everybody else served a good purpose. But I'd have to say if there were 3 characters that would stand out to me in this one, I'd have to say Edward Elric, Romy Paku, Vic Mignogna, Gene Havoc, Yuji Ueda, Mike McFarlane, and of course Roy Mustang again, Shinichiro Miki, Travis Willingham, just because they get, especially Shinichiro Miki, Travis Willingham, Yuji Ueda, Mike McFarlane, who did Roy Mustang and Gene Havoc respectively, because they were the 2 that had the most emotion in their performances, both in Japanese and in English. In English, again, we were a bit more poetic with it. Japanese, it was a little more straightforward, but both performances were very good, very strong, well done, and just it was very moving. So I liked those 2 respectively. How about you, Jarek?
I'd have to say for the Japanese VA, I agree with you completely, but for the English, I'm actually going to have to maybe substitute Roy Mustang, because we all know he's a GOAT character anyways. He's just the greatest ever. I'm going to substitute him for that doctor guy.
Oh, nice. Which I'll give him. That's Kenryu Arimoto and R. Bruce Elliott.
Because honestly, the way he did it in English was just so much better. I mean,
that is true. I did say that as well.
I like the the Japanese doctor did, but the very quiet and almost downplayed version. Plus, I love how he's like, when Roy asks him, "What are you doing here?" It's like, the back's been killing me with all that standing up I have to do in the coroner's office. I just love how he comes up with that instantly, and it's very natural, And again, I love how when he looks at the notepad in English, he's like, I know you like to play with fire, but if you keep this up, someone's going to get burned. Again, very natural for a doctor, especially in the coroner's office.
Well, that's a nice little thing of attention to there, Jarek. Thank you very much for that. And final thoughts, again, a great episode that keeps moving the pieces forward. More little bits of discovery and things here. My thing is I was telling Jarek this. I mean, I know for probably plot purposes why they have to discover more about Theodore Bradley, and it does move things forward, and it does give the bigger reveal to the bigger villain of Father as we get along, because we only know a little bit about Father at this point. So I understand why Hiromu Arikawa for the manga and for this anime for Brotherhood, why they're trying to achieve that. But I have to still say, in the original, I like how we know there's another person pulling the puppet, or the puppets behind the strings, but I like how Bradley was hidden. Because again, it's like the original show, sort of like this one, makes you want to like Bradley so much, but then when it's like a reveal, it's like, oh shit. But again, we'll get to that when we get to the original anime, but that's just my little 2 cents to that. I like how it was more a reveal near the end of the show that it's like, oh fuck, that's not good.
Also speaking about Bradley, he had another interesting moment in this where Envy was trying to give him shit. It's like, why didn't you kill him? Why didn't you finish him off? He's like, you don't need to worry about that. Roy Mustang, I'll take care of Roy Mustang. It's like, what? He's too important to us. Father's entrusted him to me. And I love how there's almost this childlike not giddiness or joy, but like this. How should I put this? Like this anticipation, like almost this. You see him for the first time, like show some genuine emotion for something. I mean, not like his usual wrathful or his just disguised self. He's actually showing excitement for something. He actually is acting kind of like a human.
Yep.
And when you think about it, like him getting this way, thinking about taking care of Mustang, it's like he's recognizing that, yeah, Mustang is a guy who I could actually have a damn good fight against. This is a guy who could potentially be on my level. And I hate to say it, it's almost like the Vegeta moment. You know, it's like, oh, you haven't achieved your perfect form yet, have you? Well, fine, go get her. I'll wait.
Yep, that's exactly what it is, and I would have to agree to that to a T, but all episodes are good, all episodes so far are good, and I love the lead up to it, but again, as I grab this here, again, what do you guys think? Have you guys, again, checked out the show? Have you not? If not, I would suggest doing so. It is a great anime, and its lead up at this point on episode 21 is great. We still have a whole handful of episodes yet to do, because I think, again, this is a 52 or 54 episode series, so quite a long way to go yet, but
yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Is Ling Yao and his friend, are they Chinese Team Rocket? Should Riza Hawkeye wear a tiny miniskirt? Is Senator Armstrong the best waifu of Fullmetal Alchemist? Yes, by the way.
All these and more, yes indeed. But until then, this is 012 and
the jackass in charge.
And we will talk to you guys later, alright? Deuces.
Deuces.